of my high school. Had a lot of deals to be made. Trying to construct the world.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I think we're gonna get this show on the road here. So, welcome to our 50th anniversary fundraising gala. We are so excited that it's our 50th. Yeah, clap. Yeah. We're so excited that we've been in this community for this long, and really, really grateful for all the support and for all of you for coming out tonight. I hope everybody got raffle tickets and bid on the silent auction and got enough food to eat and got some cocktails, some drinks. So yeah, we're like I said, the silent auction will be over at 8 p.m. and we'll choose our raffle winners at about 8:15. So. I'm going to get started here by sharing that we are deeply grateful to be hosting this event at the award-winning, absolutely stunning Missoula Public Library. We are located on the ancestral land of the Salish and Kalispel peoples. As we gather to commemorate the Poverello Center's history, it is essential to acknowledge the history of this land and the enduring impact on indigenous peoples. Although Native Americans make up 2% of Missoulians' population, they represent about 16% of the guests served at the Poverello Center. As we look to the future, we're committed to recognizing our past and uplifting indigenous voices to build a more equitable and resilient community. Part of that tonight as well is the sponsors who made all of this possible, including our leading sponsors, Clearwater Credit Union. Thank you. Give them a hand. And Wells Fargo. And our presenting sponsor, First Interstate Bank. Could not have done it without you guys, and all of the help of volunteers and supporters who are here tonight as well. You know, something our team has learned in this process of putting together this event is that everyone in Missoula has a POV story. Well, we do. We all do, right? Whether that's volunteering, donating, eating a hot meal, staying overnight, working as part of our staff, serving on the board, anything else. Each Missoulian has been affected by the work that we do here. It's been incredibly rewarding to see that legacy of this work is woven into the city and to see how much of the city appreciates us in return. As a relative newcomer to Missoula, I moved here 4 years ago. I've learned over the past few years how this city is filled with amazingly compassionate and generous individuals. And I am awed every winter when we get boxes of blankets and coats and survival gears, and all year long when we get notes attached to checks thanking us for fulfilling such a crucial gap in our community. There are probably thousands of shelters around the country, and we might blend into the background if it wasn't for the fact that we are in Missoula, Montana, and we get to work in this incredible community that truly believes in uplifting every person. With that in mind, I want to encourage you again to enjoy, commune with one another, share your POV stories with each other, you know, just volunteer at the POV, be part of this community, keep on being part of this community, because it really just makes the work so much better and more enjoyable for all of us. So with that, I am also excited to invite a special guest that we've invited to speak tonight. I'm going to introduce Montana's Poet Laureate, the author of One Sentence Journal, Short Poems and Essays from the World at Large, which won the 2018 Montana Book Award. He is the author of the upcoming book, Becoming Little Shell, and we're thrilled to have him here with us tonight. Please welcome Chris Latre.
Bonjour, Indinwe Maganadug. Ani, Chris Ka Shinikishin. That is hello, all of my relatives in Anishinaabemoan, which is one of the languages of my people. The other part was you can call me Chris in Michif, which is the other language of my people. So I'm enrolled with the Little Shell tribe. We are comprised largely of descendants of the mighty Pembina Band of the Chippewa of the Red River of the North. We are also comprised largely of Métis people. Métis people are a cultural indigenous group recognized in Canada, but not the United States. So we know a thing or two about not being recognized, not being seen, and being released or being erased. And I think of the POV first. I want to thank the POV not only for asking me to come and speak this event, but also just for existing. And everybody who supports the POV. Let's have a round of applause for those folks too. Because the POV is like, I don't know how many people saw Game of Thrones, but there's a scene in Game of Thrones where like it's getting down to the final hour and Jon Snow is like the hero. And everybody's abandoned him and he's standing out there with his sword by himself. And there's this horde of the dead charging at him and he's ready to like throw down and give his life in service to what he believes in against this horde of the dead. We might think of the horde of the dead, like I think so many other Missoulians do, as being the people that the POV serves, because there's more and more and more of them. But they're not. The horde of the dead is this dumpster fire society that we have created and allowed to continue, that pushes our relatives who are related to us as much as they are to me as an Indigenous person. We're working to push them to the fringes. And as a Little Shell person, I know a thing or two about that too. Because in September of 1892, a man named Macomber went to the Turtle Mountain Reservation in North Dakota. And he had a scheme, and I won't break down how it all worked out. But the ultimate result of him not allowing Chief Little Shell, Ayabwebitung, he who rests on the way, a known hereditary chief of the Pembina Chippewa, who had by then already become the Turtle Mountain Chippewa. We are that related. I could disenroll Little Shell today and enroll Turtle Mountain tomorrow. That we are the same people. But in 1892, he culminated a scheme to take 9 million acres from the Pembina Chippewa. And from that moment, Chief Little Shell and everybody who followed him and anybody who disagreed with the people who thought that was the way to go became disenrolled. And in the view of the United States government, we didn't exist. And that's how for 134 years from that date, we were known as the landless Indians of Montana until we finally got our federal restoration in December of 2019. But that process had begun many years before, going back to probably about the 1850s, when the first efforts to take our lands began. Little Shell wouldn't play ball, so that's why the feds pushed him out. So our diaspora really got rolling in the 1860s, into the 1870s. We began spreading out. We used to hunt buffalo all the way from the Red River, which is the border today of so-called Minnesota and North Dakota. We would hunt buffalo from there all the way to the Front Range of the Rockies and back twice a year. We were the best buffalo hunting culture this continent has ever known. And I'll fight anybody who disagrees with me on that. But we became a diaspora. We went out and there was nothing to come back to. And often when we came back, there would be a settler in our homes. So imagine you live in Montana because we have beautiful summers. And you go down to Arizona because you hate the winter. When you come back the next year, someone else is living in your house. And the powers that be say, well, that's okay. You weren't here. You don't live here. Because it was a different concept of ownership and what it means to live on the land. And I think about that, especially, I'm like on record as saying that I believe land acknowledgements are the progressive liberals' version of thoughts and prayers. Because people usually say them and then they don't do anything. I was really hoping for one tonight so I could just rip it apart. But tonight's wasn't too bad. Thank you, Stephanie. Or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should have. Will you read this so I can rip it apart? Because often land acknowledgements talk about we want to steward the land or whatever in the way that they have been for however many years. Whether it's Salish, my people were here too. We've been here for probably 300 years in one form or another, hunting, guiding, trading, trapping. But what we didn't do in our native cultures, nobody had 3 houses if somebody had 0. If somebody had food, everybody ate until that food was gone. That's how we existed. He who had provided for she who didn't, and vice versa. So unless we decide that we're going to live like that and take care of each other, we are not living in any kind of acknowledgement of the people who were here first. And I'm probably speaking to the choir in this room, and I hope so. I hope so. But we lived on the fringes of communities for 150 plus years. When I see my relatives out on the street, I don't see the people as described in the comment sections in newspapers. And if you go back 150 years to the papers of that era, it was people saying the same thing. But you know, we weren't there because we chose to be. We were there because everything we had been taken from us. We were there because our livelihood had been taken from us. We were there because the relative who provided us everything for us, the buffalo, was hunted into an extinction because they couldn't beat us on the battlefield. So they came after the buffalo. I commented on something today. Some guy trying to virtue signal. The Indians did this, and they believe this about the buffalo, and they believe that about the buffalo, and they believe this other thing about the buffalo. And I said, hey, man, we believe this about the buffalo. We believe they are our spiritual brother. We believe that our culture cannot be strong without them. So what we were then is what we are now. And as they rise, we rise. And I was out on the street walking in here, and one of our houseless relatives was approaching me on the street, and he saw my medallion. He was like, oh, that is so cool. That's so beautiful. That is so cool. Where did you get it? And I said, it's Lakota. I got it from a maker who lives on the Fort Peck Reservation. He said, I'm Lakota. He held out his arm. Tattooed on his forearm was a buffalo and the word Lakota. My arm is tattooed with the representatives of the 7 grandfather teachings of the Anishinaabe people, and there's a buffalo on there too for respect. Because the buffalo gives of himself to provide sustenance for so many others, not just Indians. Everybody benefited from the presence of the buffalo. And Stephanie gave the statistic of how overwhelmingly Indigenous people represent our houseless community when we represent such a small part of the overall population of Montana, which really bums me out too. And to consider that at any point, anyone who is indigenous to North America could be considered landless, as we were. When I see efforts to push my houseless relatives, for whatever reason they're out there, to the fringes of our community, of our city, and make it hard for them to live when so many of them would rather not be there. We have plenty of people working who are houseless or who are living in their cars on the street. When I see that, I take it personally. I take it as an assault, as part of the ongoing genocide of indigenous people, because that's how you do it. You make it impossible for them to live like all the rest of us. And what is particularly disappointing to me about Missoula is there is so much fucking money in this community. So much. We could solve this problem in a month, in 6 months, in a year, whatever it takes, if we really wanted to. If that fraction of the community who thinks it's more important to have an indoor practice facility for the stupid university football team, let's turn that into a shelter. And I'm sorry to come at you guys, but man, I get tired of it. And I would be wasting my opportunities that come as poet laureate. I know people say, hey, let's get the poet laureate. We'll pull a string and some nice poetry will come out. I'm here to speak truth to fucking power. And there is a lot of power in this room. There's a lot of power in this community, because what is it? 98% white people? Tell me who is more powerful in the world right now than white people. Well, there's that. Can you get a few? Why don't we do a swap? Let's swap 70,000 for 70,000. I'm serious about that. We have solutions to these problems. We roll out the carpet for developers. We roll out tax breaks for companies that come in and provide jobs and then disappear, especially these tech jackoffs. And now we don't have money for schools. We don't have money to take care of our community. We don't have money for this and that, education, teachers. It bums me out. And I'm proud to be part of the community that the Poverello is. I'm proud to be part of a lot of things that happen in this town. But we need more help. We need to somehow figure out a way to engage this upper band of people who already have so much, yet seems it's not enough. And I know we can do it, because we did it. It took a long time, 150 plus years. Generations of people devoting their lives to seeing who we are restored. So anybody who says, oh, we can't do this, it's too difficult, I beg to differ. Because I'm standing here as a proud descendant of a people who for many generations could not be proud because it was dangerous and life at risk to be proud of who we are. And now we don't have to do that anymore. So everybody in this room who paid to be here, chimigwech. You're not probably the people that I should be railing against. But we still need to figure out some things. And I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful for the chance to speak. I'm sorry I didn't say any nice poems. And again, thank you. I don't plan this shit. I just let it rip. Chimigwech. Stephanie.
Thanks, Chris. That's tough to follow up. Gosh. I'm gonna say that when I started working at the POV 2 years ago, and I started learning about all the work that the POV did, I was like, oh, the POV does this, the POV does this. Oh my gosh. And I would bet that there's a lot of people in this room who really don't know all the stuff that the POV does. So we had our friends at Shoot Montana make a fabulous video for us that shares about our work over the past 50 years. So you've had a chance to look at the exhibit, and you've had a chance to talk amongst yourselves about it. So here's a chance to watch a video about it too. So hold tight.
I'm Jill Bonney, and I'm proud to be the executive director of the Poverello Center. For 5 decades, we've stood as a pillar of support in the heart of Missoula. Our mission is simple yet profound: to provide food, shelter, help, and most importantly, hope to all who seek it. Throughout these 50 years, we've touched the lives of countless individuals, offering not just a warm meal and a safe place to sleep, but also pathways to stability and brighter futures. At the core of our work lies a fundamental belief: that every human being deserves dignity and respect, regardless of their housing situation. We envision a collaborative and supportive community in which everyone has a safe place to call home. But our commitment doesn't end there. We're not just a service provider. We're paving the way for change, forging partnerships with fellow organizations, and advocating for systemic change within our city and state. Together, we strive to build a future where homelessness is not a barrier, but a challenge we tackle collectively with compassion and determination. In 1974, the Poverello Center began its humble journey as a soup kitchen, driven by the dedication of volunteers. Initially, it provided just one meal a day. Over the years, our food initiatives have flourished, evolving into a comprehensive program that now offers grab-and-go breakfasts, hearty hot lunches and dinners, as well as sack lunches daily. Operating from our bustling commercial kitchen, we extend our support beyond our doors. We proudly supply daily meals to the Johnson Street Emergency Shelter and our partners at the Meadowlark Family Housing Center. Additionally, our food rescue program rescues groceries from local stores, creatively repurposing them in our kitchen to minimize waste and maximize impact. In 1981, recognizing the pressing need for shelter, the dedicated team at the Poverello Center took action. They secured a new location on Ryman Street, transforming previously utilized workers' housing into a shelter, offering approximately 85 beds to those in need. Fast forward to 2014, and the Poverello Center took another significant step forward by relocating to a facility on West Broadway. This new space allowed us to expand our capacity, providing shelter for up to 150 individuals every night. But the Poverello Center didn't stop there. Beyond simply providing a roof over people's heads, we implemented additional programs and partnerships to address various needs. One such partnership is the satellite clinic established through Partnership Health, offering vital on-site medical care. The Poverello also has a resident volunteer program. This initiative not only provides temporary shelter accommodations, but also offers a pathway towards self-sufficiency. Through formal job training in kitchens and janitorial services, individuals staying at the shelter can acquire valuable skills and experience, empowering them to rebuild their lives. As a guest of the emergency shelter, there is access to essential amenities such as showers, laundry facilities, and mail services. Our veterans programs see hundreds of veterans each year. Housing Montana Heroes is our transitional housing program for veterans. This comprehensive program includes personalized case management, invaluable peer-to-peer support, engaging recreational activities, and a focus on promoting healthy living. We also assist with food and foster opportunities for community building. In 2021, we purchased the Clark Fork Inn just down the street from our shelter building on Broadway. We're thrilled to announce that this property will soon be transformed into private studio apartments exclusively for veterans enrolled in our Housing Montana Heroes program. This expansion not only enhances the quality of our transitional housing for our veterans, but also enables us to broaden our shelter services at our current site. When someone experiencing homelessness is discharged from the hospital, they're faced with a critical decision: where to recuperate. That's where our medical respite program steps in. Providing a safe space for recovery, it's not just a place to rest, it's a lifeline. Research has shown the importance of programs like this. Individuals utilizing medical respite not only spend less time in hospitals, but also significantly decrease their chances of readmission or further injury. By fostering a supportive environment, we're not just offering a bed, we're offering a pathway to better health outcomes for our community. Our homeless outreach team dedicates its days to the streets and trails of Missoula, creating meaningful connections with those living unsheltered. For many experiencing homelessness, their space outdoors or a camp is more comfortable than the communal living of shelters. The HOT team is committed to making sure these individuals receive essential provisions daily: nourishment, hydration, warm attire, and crucial survival gear such as tents and sleeping bags. They serve as a vital link to the resources dispersed throughout the city. Beyond all of this, the HOT team invests in understanding the individuals they serve. This is crucial for people as they move towards stability. We take great pride in our impact with the Missoula community. Our kitchen feeds the city. Our shelter provides a warm, safe place to sleep and a stepping stone towards permanent, stable housing. Our veteran programs honor those who've served our country, providing them with the high level of care they deserve. Our medical respite program not only saves valuable community resources, but also prevents further harm to our guests. Meanwhile, our homeless outreach team tirelessly provides essential resources to those living outdoors, while also fostering trust and support among citizens and local businesses. The data we've collected speaks volumes, demonstrating our success in guiding individuals from crisis to stability. Yet perhaps even more significant are the stories of our dedicated staff, who witness firsthand the power of our work and proudly serve their community day in and day out. For 50 years, the Poverello Center has been a crucial part of Missoula's safety net. This work is not easy. It requires dedication and compassion. We're here for a reason, to make a difference in people's lives. But this journey is far from over. Challenges lie ahead, and there is still so much work to be done. Yet with the invaluable support of our community members, partners, and every individual who has lent a helping hand, we're not just dreaming of a better tomorrow, we're actively building it. Because of you, we believe in a future where everyone, regardless of circumstance, has a safe place to call home. Thank you for being a part of our journey, and thank you for being a part of the Poverello family. Together, let's continue to build a community where no one is left behind.
You guys get to watch all of my technological inabilities. Sorry about that. So the POV does a lot. And I think that there are a lot of folks in the community that don't realize the amount of work that the organization does. And I, for one, am incredibly grateful to work with the team of people that I do. And I think our staff is just outstanding and some of the most compassionate people I have ever met in my life. And so really grateful to work with them. Maybe everybody give them a big hand. So obviously not just our staff, volunteer supporters, everyone, and our board. Our board is a bunch of amazing kick butt people who work so hard for the POV. And right now I want to invite our board chair, Chris Chitty, up to talk a little bit right now. Woo!
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming to the Poverello's 50th anniversary fundraiser. As Stephanie said, my name is Chris Chitty, and I, along with Tara Jensen, are the co-chairs of the board of the Poverello Center. I can't take credit for all of that. I don't know that I could do it. I've been on the board, as has Tara, since 2020, and it's been an exciting 4 years. We've seen a lot. There have been a lot of challenges, and I feel truly grateful for the opportunity to contribute just a little bit to the work started 50 years ago and continued by a long line of amazing people whose passion has been to make the lives of our neighbors experiencing crisis and hardship just a little bit easier. For 50 years, the people of the POV have been doing whatever it takes to offer food, shelter, help, and hope to whoever walks through the door. So it's time to welcome up to the stage Jill Bonney, who has served the POV since 2015. Jill cares deeply about serving Missoula's most vulnerable people and supporting her staff as they do this valuable work every single day. She's a thought leader on the subject of homelessness within our city as well as statewide. Please welcome Executive Director of the Poverello Center, Jill Bonney.
Nice, thank you. Thanks, Chris. I gotta set all my stuff down. I need my water and my notes, and I'm gonna take my shoes off. Oh, good evening, friends and supporters. Thank you so much for being here. A lot has changed since 1974, the year the Poverello first opened its doors. Did you know that was also the year that Skittles and Post-it notes were introduced? The median household income was $11,000, and Americans paid an average of $4,441 for a brand new car. We take these things for granted these days, and you can hardly take your family on vacation for $4,000. The POV has also gone through a lot of changes since 1974, but we've always been steady in our commitment to providing services to our most vulnerable neighbors and valuable neighbors. In the early 70s, just like now, communities were grappling with the question of how to care for their neighbors. In response, a group of dedicated volunteers, guiding by the Franciscan values of service, began serving food out of the Knights Columbus building on Pine Street. When they had to move, their executive director, June Kenny, was so deeply committed to their mission that she offered her own home as a temporary location for the soup kitchen. It wasn't long before they knew there was a need for a shelter, and the POV moved to a building on Ryman Street where it sat for 4 decades. That's what the situation was like 50 years ago. Resources were so scarce that folks gave everything they had, hoping to help those who needed it most. For much of the time the POV was on Ryman, it maintained 3 crucial programs: the soup kitchen, emergency shelter, and transitional family housing. They navigated economic crashes, cultural shifts, and constant changes in numbers and needs. In the early 2010s, the Poverello Center began to innovate. With community partners addressing the need for family housing, we developed our homeless outreach team. Yay, hot team. We then moved to our location on West Broadway, a building actually designed to be an emergency shelter with various programs. Our veterans had a designated space, and we had a brand new medical respite program. The new Poverello had a commercial kitchen, a big laundry room, mail services, and a space for the Partnership Health Satellite Clinic so that our guests could access healthcare on site. 40 years after we opened our doors, we had finally found a permanent, custom-built place to call home. With roots firmly planted, we moved from reacting to obstacles to predicting challenges and changing outcomes. We're no longer the young organization we once were, and today we're focused on paving the way for our future. Internally, we're constantly improving our organization for both staff and guests. We're adding accessibility features, improving programs, and consistently evaluating policies to ensure our guests have the best possible experience. Additionally, we focus on staff wellness by continuing our goal to pay our staff not only a living wage, but a thriving wage. Providing essential benefits and fostering a community of peer-to-peer support. Externally, the Poverello Center is being proactive by working with city and county leaders to determine the next steps in policy. Missoula is in an interesting moment, even this week as we work through what to do regarding unsheltered homelessness and how to best move our community forward. The Poverello Center is dedicated to 2 strategies during this time: continuing to stand by our mission to provide essential services and to advocate for kind and compassionate policies that ensure everyone has a safe place to call home. Thank you. The Poverello Center has also spearheaded the Montana Coalition to Solve Homelessness, which recently hosted a summit here in Missoula. It was a first of its kind meeting of experts to address specific issues in housing and homeless services. In 2022, the Montana Coalition to Solve Homelessness secured $5 million from the state government for homeless shelters across Montana. This was the first time the state of Montana financially supported shelters, and we plan to continue foraging forward and working so that other shelters and ourselves can get more support across the state. Thank you, Ellie, for your work in Helena. This exponential growth in services was only possible with the help of our partners. We were encouraged by other service providers, the city and county of Missoula, our donors, our volunteers, and our staff. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge these folks. So if you're here today and you're a volunteer, former or current, can you stand up? Or if you're standing, can you raise your hand? If you're a former or current staff member of the Poverello Center, can you stand up or raise your hand? And if you're a former or current board member, would you stand up or raise your hand? We also want to acknowledge our partners at Partnership Health Center. There's a bunch of them in here. In addition to decades of medical care and shared leadership supporting our community, they've just provided us 250 doses of Narcan in a time when there was a severe shortage of this life-saving resource. Finally, we want to acknowledge our partners that make up the Missoula Coordinated Entry System, as well as any others here tonight. Thank you so much for the time and energy you've given to our mission of providing food, shelter, help, and hope to all who ask. So we're here tonight with the goal of raising $100,000 in one night to help meet our goal for our 50 Years of Hope campaign. With what we fundraise tonight, we will work towards housing our heroes, stabilizing and maintaining equitable access to our services, and fully staffing our homeless outreach team. We are so grateful to our sponsors who have already gotten us halfway there. With their generosity, I'd like to thank our leading sponsors this evening, Clearwater Credit Union, Wells Fargo. Yeah, go ahead and clap for them. And our presenting sponsor for Centerstate Bank. This evening, we also we're fortunate enough to have a match of $25,000 from the Downtown Missoula Partnership and other generous supporters. This means that every dollar tonight, up to $25,000, will be matched for dollar for dollar. And that'll help us meet our goal. For our 50th anniversary, we hope people can dig deep. If each person in this room donated $125 right now, we'd meet that match and our goal. Your donation doesn't have to come out of your pocket tonight, though. You can become a monthly donor. Monthly donors are crucial to the stability of our organization. They help us know and can plan for our financial stability. Maybe $50 a month for the next year for our 50th. That contribution would equal $600 over the next year. Friends, tonight we have a unique opportunity to make a profound impact. The Poverello Center has been a pillar of support in our community for 5 decades. And with your help, we can ensure it continues to be for many more years. Imagine the lives we can change, the hope we can restore, and the futures we can build together. Every dollar you give tonight is more than just a donation. It's an investment in the lives of those who need it most. It's a statement that we care, that we believe in the dignity of every person, and that we're committed to building a compassionate community. Your generosity tonight can provide warm meals, safe shelter, and vital services to those who are struggling. It can be the difference between crisis and hope. So as you consider your gift, think about the lives you'll touch and the hope you'll bring. There are staff members and volunteers walking around the room with pledge cards and credit card scanners ready to assist you with your contribution to our 50 Years of Hope. And drinks. That's the most important part. Well, no, it's not. Never mind. Thank you for choosing to support the Poverello Center. Your kindness and generosity are making a real difference. We are thrilled to have you a part of our community and excited to embark on making a difference in the next 50 years. And if you have not picked out and bought raffle tickets for the things you want over there, make sure you do that soon, because I believe we're going to call some raffle tickets soon. Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you so much for your support.